Thank you. Thanks, Megan. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Joseph.
Yes, thank you. This next piece I'm going to do was written at the request of an Uber passenger I had one night. The year that I had this valve installed in my brain or in my skull, my first job back into the workforce was driving for Uber for 5 months. Awesome experience. But it was always about poetry. The world was in turmoil. I Can't Breathe was echoing constantly, and those words carry weight with me because they haunt the very call that changed my life to become a poet and leave the ambulance as a paramedic to find the words to help people not hurt each other. Well, she was doing a fundraiser for an event, 1 billion rising, for mothers across for women across the world. And it was for Casa de la Madres in San Francisco and the Tenderloin Youth Center. So I wrote this and ended up performing it at the F8 in San Francisco. It's 6 minutes and 42 seconds long. So if you're wondering what the heck, I got a lot to say. So I hope you enjoy it. It's called Dawn, the Era of Respect for Women. I was just a child when I witnessed my first abuse, when my stepdad, who cut trees for a living, put his strength to violent use. I remember on my 9th birthday, there on the kitchen floor, lay my unconscious mother in a pool of blood, broken nose, front teeth, no more. A year later, when I was 10, I ran to a watching neighbor for help, crying, "Help, help, Daddy's beating up Mommy," as we could hear her in resistance yelp. My dad was dunking her head underwater while grasping her by her hair. The reaction my neighbor gave is one my own soul would never dare. He watched with his arms folded and said, "I don't want to get involved." It is never by such apathy that our social ills are solved. Alcohol's biggest transgression is how it disables ability to listen, as the one who imagines what leads them to anger has no clue what truth they are missing. Where in our human history did it become acceptable to curse our source? There is no excuse except our illness to not bless women with our force. Not a single man alive today, except what research may have done, can say that from a woman they were not born to be a son. The arrogance of masculinity that wants to oppress for own control is afflicted with an illness of ignorance in the soul. I was infected while married and cannot claim some special place, but there are times we must grow up and discover our disgrace. Though I never raised my hand to her, my love was simply not complete because I did not respect her true enough to be sure that eye to eye is where we'd meet. The absence of forgiveness is an arrow to the heart of the future, but every soul has the right to be free from fear of wounds that require a suture. Even the subtle invisible ones that are masked by reasons that force control, restricting what you can do or where you can afford to go. Though love is the most important thing in life, we are taught of it the least, and sometimes cannot recognize when we manifest the beast. Because I witnessed such violence in youth, I thought as a husband I was none but a prince. But in my banishment from a woman's touch, there is much that I've learned since. And I see how hard it must have been to be married to a man like me, who thought I was so smart, unaware of how much I didn't see. Every time she said I didn't listen, I thought her vision was incorrect, not realizing that I rarely saw what she meant, and my own blindness I didn't detect. Listening is more than hearing keywords, than recalling our own past. I was like a horrible search engine with responses irrelevant, however fast. Listening should be like a sail in the wind with the opening of our heart. Oh, shoot. Hello. Listening is more, oh, wait. Listening should be like a sail in the wind with the opening of the heart, sensitive to the invisible pushes of what the speaker tries to impart. Instead, men struggle with selfish lust and want to cover God's female form, insisting that oppression of her expression is life's accepted norm. Blaming women since the Garden of Eden for the will of our own hearts, it is time to snap out of adolescence and become accountable for our own arts. If we want the cosmos to welcome us as deserving of its light, we must mature to respect where we're from, lovingly defending all women with our might. Else, why should such stupidity be allowed to spread to other stars when, to love the women by whom life lives, we refuse to go that far? 1 billion rising is long overdue, as women have long proven their living love true. Culture creator shouts praise to all mothers and summons an era of respect that is new. But we must also look at the roots of anger and identify what drives people mad, like corrupting one's good intentions and describing their will as bad. Or a world that measures worth by ability to purchase or pay, and being unrealistic or insensitive to results of fining one's peanuts away. The restrictions on employment, forced idle despite our decay by those grown drunken with privilege who refuse to think another way, who artificially cripple the able by removing their ability to drive, as if ever wounding the healthy enables a body or family to thrive. The system that drinks from the poor and siphons away our strength by penalizing poverty with fees that increase its length must be acknowledged as contributing factors to violence in the home, as one cannot swipe another's labor, then pretend mad's origin unknown. If 1 billion are to rise up to ensure a woman's due respect, we must acknowledge what's ill to her offspring creates disease we should detect. Instead of placing band-aids and pointing fingers with poisoned words, we must be wise and understand what motivates the things we've heard. Poor listening is epidemic. I was 33 when I learned my disease, and it's hard to make someone listen when they already think that he or she sees. This epidemic knows no gender, economic class, or group to be immune from its existence for keeping ignorance in its loop. It is up to us to be the light, like we are doing here tonight, to say that violence to women and children, however traditional, is never right. I have trouble calling God a he, because from women we all are born, even if the story says that once from a man, a woman was torn. Since then, it's always been mothers who have cradled us in the womb, who have nurtured, protected, and loved us from our conception till their tomb. For the lives of mothers around the globe, by whom we all exist, there is a reason the logo for this event has a heart that's clenched in a fist. Across every continent and across every border, through every language and cultural past, the love of mothers has been universal. Let the era of not loving her back be past. I wrote that February 25th, 2015. That's when I posted it. You can get that online. You can just type in Dawn the Era of Respect for Women, my name, and you'll find it.
Yay, Joseph, that was awesome.
Thanks. Sorry about all the background noise. That's why sometimes I got to mute because I got stuff going on. And I live 4 miles from an airport, so.
Oh.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Joseph. Okay, it's time for Gantt and the closer.
Oy vey. Okay.
Oy vey is mir.
Oy vey is mir. I just throw these up in there and pick whichever one lands, huh? In my never-ending quest to find different ways to play the same songs, here's an old war horse.